Well, welcome back to the garden. And today we are going to study the number 9 in all the different aspects that we've been looking at, all the other numbers. And this sort of ends our single digit number. So this is going to be the last one that's going to have numerology really related to it, unless you do a reduction. But just as a pure straight number, 9 is it. That's the last single digit we got. And 9 in angel numbers is get to work. Light worker, and do it now. The number 9 means that you've completed all the prerequisites to achieve your purpose, and it's time to stop procrastinating. It's time to start moving and take actions. Baby steps are often very useful, and sometimes it's time to sit down and decide which direction we're going in. So that's another part of the number 9. The 9th house on the astrologic chart, the Zodiac. I'm going to show you my pretty new toy, my solar return birthday wheel, which was a lovely gift from Ursula, and it makes it so much easier to show you numbers. This is 9th house right here. Sagittarius right there, the gold and the red. That's the 9th house, 9th zodiac sign. And in the 9th house, it's a place where you broaden your aspects and you go out and you start adventures. Just like the angel number said, get off your butt and go do what you need to do. You've got all of what you need to know to get there. And it can be broadening yourself spiritually, academically, or just taking a wonderful journey and learning something new. That's the movement that's going on in the 9th house. That's a real quick view of it. Then it's Sagittarius. And as a personal point, I will tell you my second husband was a Sagittarian. He started out extremely impoverished in Britain and had pioneer patents in microtechnology. So he was a true Sagittarian. Started with nothing and climbed to the top. They imbues superior confidence that he had more than enough of. Enthusiasm, can make good fortune, and is a figure of authority. Of course, part of the thing was he was from England, and people used to think he was an authority because he had a British accent, which is what can happen from that. But he also did have an air of authority, and he was very good. And he spoke when he knew what to do, and he moved forward when he really needed to. He was really, really good at that. The other part of the 9th house is it is ruled by Jupiter, which is the ultimate planet that gives us good stuff. It's the grand poobah and the planets of having you feel free and wonderful and unchaining you. You got to watch out, get a little too unchained, and you can do what that guy is, which is diving off a cliff. And if you see in that picture, he's diving off the cliff where the birds fly. Don't know that that's the wisest thing to do, but it means that you have self-confidence, self-belief, and good luck. Jupiter brings us good luck. And we could use as much of that right now as possible. Then in sacred geometry, the number 9 is a fascinating number. It's what they call the perfection of the triad being 3, which in every faith there's a triad. There's the Father, Son, the Holy Ghost. There's in all the other faiths, there's something similar to that, which takes the spirit and the soul and the energy of the universe and brings it into 3 parts and brings it to us. Well, 9 is 3 times 3, so it's 3 times the triad, which is called the sacred triad in its highest expression. It means balance. It means perfection. But also there's all kinds of funny things when you look at the world around us. A circle is 360 degrees. You add a 3 and a 6 together, you get 9. You cut a circle in half, it's 180 degrees. You add a 1 and an 8 together, it's 9. You cut a circle into 4 parts, it's 90 degrees. That's pretty obviously a 9. There's also multiples. I don't know if you ever knew this, but this has got me through my multiplication tables as a kid. 6 times 9 is 54. If you add a 5 and a 4 together, you get a 9. The same happens with anything else. If you do 2 times 9 is 18. Add the 1 and the 8 together, it's a 9. Multiply any single digit with a 9, and it will reduce back down to a 9. That's how I used to always check those when I was a little kid. No other number has this characteristic. Also, if you add a number to 9, if you add 5 plus 9 equals 14. If you add the 1 and the 4 together, you go back to 5. The same thing happens if you add 9 to 7. You get 16. You add 1 and 6, you go back to the 7. So that's just one of those funny things. It's a magic number, a thing sort of that you can do with number 9 that you can't do with other numbers. So I always kind of liked 9s when I had to do numbers. And I used to do, I was trained as an accountant. I got my master's in accounting, and it was back in the old days when we had to do 10 key and we had to punch up long chains of numbers. And there are ways you can use 9s to go back and find out where you might have miskeyed. It's a wonderful, complete, perfect number to play with when it comes to that. Now, what does 9 mean in the Tarot? Well, the 9 in the Tarot, the major arcana is the Hermit. And you're going, well, it says self-confidence and going out there and doing things. Hermits don't do that. Hermits go home and hide. Well, no, the Hermit actually means going back to your basic wisdom. I always read the Hermit a lot to go find a mentor, someone who can show you the light. I think 9 in the Tarot does mean perfection. It does mean going back and finding the better, higher self. Except I think in the Tarot, in this particular deck, it took a particularly spiritual bent in going to the Hermit. But it's a number of completion. If you go up through all the steps we've done from 1 to 9 now, you see that we're ready to move forward and to go inside and seek perfection and have the confidence to come out. Now, 9 of Cups. Now, this is a real 9. 9 of Cups is you're getting everything you want. Some people call it the smug merchant. I've never seen him that way. He always looks like a guy who knows what he's doing, and he's doing his best, and he's got everything moving in his direction. He's very, very completely in on the game, and he's dealing well with emotionals. We always call this a wish card. When you get this in a reading, I tell people, boy, now's the time for you to write out your intentions list, your wish list, where you see yourself going, because now you're in the light of being able to get all those cups filled with the things you want. 9 of Swords is complete. 9 of Swords, I think, is one of the most painful cards in the deck. It's all the stress, all the pressure, all of the anxiety that can come out of swords, and you're bound into it. It's in a lot of decks, this card is someone sitting up at night, not able to sleep. It's the anxiety card. It's the insomnia card. So once again, it means if you're not dealing positively with your 9s, then that's what you're going to have happen. And so this is a good card to remember to turn, to get out of the 9s. You're bound by your own anxieties in this card, so you have control over that. 9 of Wands is someone who's out to protect himself, and he's building fortress. And in some decks, he's a little more beleaguered than this. In this deck, he's not. He looks like he's someone who's got things fortified. He's got it together. He's taking care of business. He's doing what he needs to do, and he's doing it in a positive manner, very determined. 9 of Wands means whatever enterprises you're involved with, you're in a wrapping up stage. You're at a point where you're having to deal with things, and it's time to get on and just deal with them. And the 9 of Pentacles, this 9 is in a lot of decks, it's a woman standing in a garden, very self-contented. Some people have said she's standing in the Garden of Eden, but it's someone who's got all the pieces they need. They're very self-satisfied. They're very happy. They're in a very good space. When this card shows up, it shows a lot of contentment in someone's life. But it also means what I said at the beginning, to not get to, now is the time to move forward, like the angel number said. Don't procrastinate. Take the values you have, take the resources you have, and move forward. So that's kind of the 9 in the Tarot. Now, 9 in numerology. It is the ending. It's also humanitarianism. It's being generous and giving. People who have a life path of 9 are very generous and giving people. They are very good at summing things up and moving forward. The last It's the last single digit. It's a unique digit, like I've explained to you. And if you have in numerology, all of the numbers I've given you before now have had 3 letters that were associated with it. But with the 9, there's only 2. The I and the R are the 2 letters. If you have those letters in your name, then you're going to have a 9 in your name base somewhere. And that's good. That means you've got 9s. That means you've got the ability to end and make things come to a conclusion. Now, the life path stone for the 9 is one I'm sure you're familiar with. It's rose quartz. Now, this is a giant chunk of rose quartz. This is how rose quartz usually builds in the ground. It pools in the volcanic things and it makes rocks like this. It doesn't show as pink as it is, but I will tell you one thing about rose quartz. Don't leave it out in the light. Don't leave it out in sunlight. Sunlight actually will fade rose quartz. It will fade amethyst. It's not good. But a rose quartz is a healing stone, a soothing stone. You'll find lots of. I was at the rock shop yesterday, and I saw lots of polished, highly polished, beautiful rose quartz hearts that were just lovely. It's a lovely stone, and it's warm. It's very comforting. It's very it feels very complete. When you hold on to rose quartz, you feel like there's a beginning and an ending here. There's a very rounding up. There's a very strong feeling of completion from 9. And that's what 9 means. In the notes after this, I will put Ursula's name, the lady who gave me that lovely Zodiac solar return chart, if you would like to have it. I will put down her phone number, which is the only way I know how to get a hold of her. And you can contact her I think I have her email too. I'll include her email in the notes too. And I'll include which decks we used. And this is sort of the end of where we can use numerology, because after this, everything, if you go to 10, it reduces to a 1. So I'm going to put the 10th and the 11th house in the Zodiac in the next lesson. Combinedly, I will talk about one, then the other. I'll talk about the characteristics of those numbers, because in both the case of those numbers, they reduce to another number. And I have this is 10th, 11th, and 12th house. So there'll be 3 of them. I'll be talking about Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And I will talk about where those are in the Tarot, how they work in the Tarot. But you won't have the long numerology. You will have an angel number. So I look forward to doing those, ending up our trip through numbers with the Zodiac and Tarot. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thank you for joining me today. Oh yeah, like, subscribe, share. If you want a reading from me, in particular, a tarot reading or any other kind of reading, or you want to talk about, you want to see about how I work with grids, I have my big grids that are the ones that are geared to a specific thing that we read and come to a conclusion about what you need, and I build you a grid. I also have crystal compasses, which are 3 stones that I put together, and I have some that are prepackaged, and then I have some that if you want a private reading, we can go ahead and put 3 stones together as a summation of what the energy you need to bring into your life to help you with where you are right now. So if you're interested in that, the information on how to reach me is below. The best way to do it is through email. I think it's the only way that I have down there that you can, but you can go to my website, crystaldirections.com, and it's directions with an S on the end of direction, .com, and you can see some of my work and see what the different kinds of crystals are. I hope that helps you. Want to help you do anything I can. And if you have any suggestions or questions about particular stones or particular things, let me know, and I will answer them for you in upcoming episodes on my channel. Thank you.